Good afternoon, everybody. Fred Favors here with the All-American Sports Show. I am the Sports King, and I've got a guest on this show that we're going to talk to that's setting the world on fire in Sun Valley. Football coach from Polytech High School, John Francis Polytech High School, football coach Darrel Daniels. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you had a big win the other night against Monroe. Everything was working. Talk to me about that game.
You know what? It was a good game. The kids showed a lot of resiliency because in the first quarter, Monroe, they jumped on us. We're down 14-0 pretty quickly with maybe like 10 minutes left in the first quarter.
Wow.
But then after that, we kind of settled down. The kids started executing their plays. They started doing what they were coached to do.
You come from great football from San Fernando, being a assistant coach there. Were you a defensive coach there, Coach, at San Fernando?
Yeah, I was a defensive coordinator over there.
And they've been a powerhouse for a long time, and you were part of that winning tradition that you bring now to Poly. But let's go talk about you at the University of Washington, where you played 1997 to 2001, and actually played against one of my favorite players of all times, Drew Brees. Talk to me about that experience.
It was a great time up there. The city of Seattle is a really nice city. Anyone watching this, if you've never been there, I'd encourage you to go check it out. So that's number one. Number two, just playing football up there, the experience was incredible. We had great coaches. I played for two different head coaches. Jim Lambright was the first one. Rick Neuheiser was the second. And each coaching staff, I still hold them dear. I still have great feelings with all those guys. So it was a great time.
Neuheiser, one of my favorite coaches. In fact, that game that you're talking about, 100,000 in the Rose Bowl. I was watching on television. I don't think I've missed a Rose Bowl in 30 years, probably. And I wanted Washington to win. Tuiasosopo, I believe, was your quarterback back then.
Yes.
Phenomenal guy. And you had the big fullback. What was his name at University of Washington back then?
When I was playing, our fullback name was Pat Conniff.
Yeah. And so you guys had a very good offense. I didn't think you could win that game, and you guys did win that game at the end. What was the difference in that game?
It was kind of the same thing. We started off slow. I think really that was the way it was our whole season of that year. We started off slow, but we finished strong every single game. I would say our strength and conditioning staff, they had a lot to do with that because we were just in better shape than most other teams, so we were able to sustain our effort throughout the whole four quarters.
Was Washington the school that, what schools did you think about besides Washington, UW, when you were graduating from high school, Coach?
You know what? So growing up, I was always a UCLA fan. Like you're wearing the USC sweatshirt right now.
Were you born in California, Coach, or where were you born?
Yep. Born and raised in San Fernando.
Of course.
And so, so most of my friends were USC fans. I was probably the only UCLA guy. But really, what it came down to, though, was my high school coach, Coach Engelman at Sylmar. He told me the three things to look for when choosing a school is somewhere where I can get a good education, somewhere where I can play, and somewhere where I can see myself living after I'm done with football.
Yes.
And so, Seattle, that just had the best of all three combined.
I've been to Seattle, and there's no question about that. Getting back to coaching again, when did did this coaching bug get in you?
You know what? I had a friend, he was coaching at San Fernando back in like the early 2000s. And he was asking me back then to help him out and coach. And I just wasn't into it. I wasn't really feeling
You just got off the field for University of Washington. Yeah. Probably had pro plans like most players, right? To get to that level. And exactly. So coaching wasn't on your mind back then.
No. And then, so like when all that stuff kind of didn't work out and it died down, I still had the bug to be around the game. And so I gave him a call one day and I was like, you know what, man, I think I'm about ready to start helping you out. So this was maybe about 2010, around that time.
Wow. Your degree was in communications, so you might be on this side of the mic. Does that, Coach, you got in communications. What were you kind of looking to do, Coach, when you got into communications at University of Washington?
I initially was thinking about, some type of a broadcasting career, like trying to be on ESPN, be one of those guys on First Take or Highly Requested. or something
Yes.
like that.
Yes. That's still available, but I think coaching is going to have you settled for a while because I'm hearing some incredible things about you from your athletic director, Coach Cerner, and everybody else at Poly. You have bought into Sun Valley, John Francis, Polytech, a winning attitude. And a lot of the kids who, one of the problems at Poly, a lot of the great athletes never play football. They're on the campus and they don't go out for the team.
Yeah,
But now the kids are seeing the fun that's in this game that you have bought to this school, and a lot of kids are coming in that normally wouldn't. What do you say about that?
you know what? Like one of the biggest things is I just want to just try to bring pride back to the campus. I told the kids when I first took over it, I remember being on the opposite sideline when I was at San Fernando and
Yes.
looking at Paulie and saying, you know what, those kids are tough. You know, they got
Mm,
talent over there.
yes.
It's just an anomaly of why they can't put it together. And so when the opening came available, I just figured, you know what, let me throw my name in there, see if I can do something with it. You know,
Yes.
because like you just said, the talent at the campus isn't dry. You know,
No.
there's a whole lot of kids out there that can play. So one of the main things when I started was just to bring back the pride. You know, have kids, you know, they want to wear their poly football t-shirts. You know, they want
Yes.
to wear their shorts around campus and just stuff like that. You know, trying to make it fun for them again.
How do you deal with this COVID shortened season? You only got 4 games left. You got 2 more games, I guess, and your big game, which we'll talk about in a second, next week, the rival game against North Hollywood, and they're rocking right now. But we'll talk about that. But COVID-19 has been a real downer for the seniors, especially. But
Mhm.
bless those seniors. They at least now have a chance to at least get some play in because early on this year, I didn't think it was going to happen.
You know what? I didn't think it was going to happen either. So one of the I mean, really, I just had to try to make myself available for the guys. You know, if they just needed someone to talk to reach out, you know, my door is always open.
Yes.
You know, the kids they can feel free to text me or call me, whatever the case may be. So that's what I was just mainly trying to do. You know, try to keep their hopes up, their spirits up, and try to keep them ready. So in case we did have a season, that they were ready to go.
How long did you guys get before the season started? Did you get a couple of weeks to work out, a couple of months to work out? How long did you get to work out before your first game?
No, it came by really fast. We had about a week and a half of practice before our first scrimmage.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
I mean,
everything,
I mean,
yeah,
how do you
everything
guys
was,
put it all together? Your quarterback has to be in sync with the
yeah.
receivers, running backs. So your linemen have to know the cadence and how do you do all that in a week and a half, 2 weeks?
You know what? So a lot of it is we just kind of scaled down everything that we would normally do.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like it's almost like getting the guys ready, like giving them the basic stuff right now and then getting the kids ready for in the future. You know, so as long as they got the basics in right now, which is pretty much all we have, then I just figured we'd be okay with that. And plus, you know, like with the less stuff that we have in, you know, it's a less amount of thinking. So it also allows the kids to play a little bit faster.
What kind of offense are you running this year, Coach?
It's a spread offense. It's a spread offense, but you know, a lot of RPO type of stuff. Give the quarterback the opportunity to make decisions, whether to give the ball or throw it out to the receivers.
Now you used 2 quarterbacks in this game against Monroe. Will you continue to do that this season?
You know what? We'll play it by ear. I'm always going to have my starter. He's always going to be the guy to go out there first. And depending on how he does, you know, like he struggled a little bit in the early part of the game against Monroe, so I kind of made the switch just to let him settle down and kind of like watch things and see how it's going with the other QB. And then once he started to figure it out, I put him back in,
That's a
and he was able
major
to do
move,
things
Coach,
for us.
because you had to have and this is what I'm saying about you. This is a talent. You're able to take the kid out at the right time.
Yeah,
You didn't, and then you reinserted him to let
yeah,
him know you're still my guy.
yeah,
And that's
definitely,
just phenomenal to bring that kind
definitely.
of situation to your team.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things, especially with a position like quarterback. You know, once they lose their confidence, then
It's
it's a
done.
tough road.
It's
Yeah,
done.
to get them back into it. So, like you just said, you're still my guy. I just want you to sit down, relax, watch some things, and then you'll go back in.
Now you guys got a big one. North Hollywood is rocking right now. They
Yeah.
have they're 1-1, and you guys are 1-1.
Hmm.
They defeated Monroe 52-0. You guys defeated Monroe 30-17. Was it, Coach, or what was it?
38-20.
38-20. So North
Yes.
Hollywood, this is a rivalry game. You guys win this game, you catapult yourself right at the top of the division. Grant's, I think, supreme right now. They have
Yeah,
not even given up one touchdown this season.
yes,
I don't know what they're doing down there in Grant. But again, you guys have a game coming up against North Hollywood this week. And then who is that? Chavez in their last
yeah,
game of the season?
yeah. Cesar Chavez, yes,
Now, when is the next season starting, though? Because this has been a shortened season. When does
yeah.
the next football season start?
So once this season is over, everything's gonna get back to normal. Well, I'm expecting everything to get back to normal. Normally we would start in the spring, which would be in May. But what I'll probably end up doing is, just let the kids have that month of May off, and then right after graduation hits, then we'll get back on the field and start practicing again.
So your juniors will have a full season, sophomores as well, full
Yes,
season coming up. But it's
yes,
just,
that's the
and
expectation.
what are you working with, Coach, right now? Will a lot of your talent be leaving as seniors? Do you keep a lot of talent coming back? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so with our roster right now, there's a lot of kids that will be leaving, but there's also a lot of kids that on campus that will be coming back next year that didn't play this season for various reasons or another. Like some kids they got jobs during the pandemic. Other kids like their parents didn't really feel comfortable letting them play. But next season though, a lot of those guys will be back.
Wow. So will your quarterback be back? Because I always ask the coaches I talk to, the graduating class, what's coming back? Will your quarterback be back? Because that's a major component.
Yeah, no, we're actually going to have a new QB next year. But the best part, though, is that we will have 4 out of our 5 offensive linemen coming back and 3 of our 4
Ooh.
defense linemen. So those guys will
Oh,
all be back.
look
And
out.
that's big.
Look out, East Valley Conference and North Hollywood. I hope you get this tape because, Coach, I know you're not going to, you don't want to cause no fires or anything,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
no
know
material.
this is a big game and you would love to put this underneath your belt.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like you said, North Hollywood, they're rolling right now. They got Coach Fair. He was at Poly a few years ago,
Yes.
and he injected some life into that program over there. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a slugfest.
Well, what you have done for this Poly team, the Poly Parrots, has been nothing short of phenomenal. You have brought a winning concept, a winning attitude from where you were before, and you have brought that to Poly, and people appreciate that. Big game coming up next week. I'm going to be. Hopefully, we can get you on next week so we can talk about the aftermath of that game. But I wish you the best of luck. Stay with me though, Coach. I'm not go a little more. I want to talk about this big game that I want you to comment on this weekend between Mater Dei and St. John Bosco. Was a game
Okay.
that I don't know if you saw that game or not, but there had to have been over 20 D1 players on the field at any one time. Mater Dei wins this game
Mhm.
big time, 34-17. But what
Yes.
a freshman quarterback, Elijah Brown, 4 touchdown passes as Mater Dei gets past St. Bosco to win the Trinity Division.
hmm Yeah, I didn't get to see the game, but I did see the score. I mean, those are just 2 phenomenal programs down there. They got, like you said, they got 20 D1 players out there. I've seen Bosco a couple years ago. They had backups with D1 scholarships. So, I mean, both those teams are just
You
loaded.
talk about this kind of talent. You look at some of the great college teams out there, like Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. Their third and second and third teams are high school All-Americans. So
Yeah,
again, you have this kind of situation going on at these two schools where they get probably athletes from all over. One
yeah,
thing about Poly, you get athletes from pretty much the neighborhood.
yeah.
Mater Dei gets athletes from New York and Chicago. So
Yeah.
again, different kinds of programs. But what you've done at this at Poly is nothing short of phenomenal. Question: NBA.
Yes.
I want to take you to all my coaches. Then I took them to the NBA. So let's see how your NBA knowledge is. The
Okay.
Lakers. Will the Lakers win a second straight NBA title?
No, they gotta get past my Clippers first.
Your Clippers. Now,
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the Clippers because I believe the Clippers have to have game coming out of Paul George in the playoffs. Yes, he is doing it in the regular season, but I
hmm
haven't seen Paul George do it in the playoffs, and that's what everybody's looking for. So if Paul George can play playoff basketball like regular season basketball, Clippers may go to the finals.
I believe so, and that's what we're waiting for. Also, last year we had pandemic P. Hopefully he
Yeah,
gets it
what was
right.
the deal on that? Because the players not just want to go to the bubble. Was it just they were not into it, or Because you saw, I didn't expect that from
Yeah.
the Clippers.
You know what? I think part of it was just being sequestered in that same place, for months at a time. And I guess they could only bring in their family like at certain times,
Yes.
So I would say that that was probably tough for a lot of people, especially if you're not used to that type of situation.
Yes, so I'm going to give the Clippers a pass on that one, but this year is a big year, and it's going to be a little tougher for the Lakers because the league is tougher.
Mhm.
Phoenix is a bear right now. Anton down low is special. Chris Paul brings experience and championship pedigree.
Yes.
Phoenix may be big this year. Dallas, I'm expecting Dallas to be something a little special this year. They've got all the tools,
Hmm.
but again, if the Clippers are right, they can challenge the Lakers. Now, in a
I
seven
think so.
game in a 7 game series. Now, come on now. I know we're not talking in the morning now. It's afternoon. In a
Yeah.
7 game series, do you think the Clippers can take the Lakers in a 7 game series?
We match up really well against the Lakers. I honestly believe they can do it. I believe they can.
Even with the new addition Lakers?
Yeah, well, remember the Clippers, we just got Boogie Cousins too.
Oh,
So he
I
could be.
did the Boogie Cousins thing. I'm not really aware of. I knew Boogie was out there looming around. On yes, he
Yeah,
would like to get back at the Lakers that didn't give him an opportunity to come back this season. So
exactly.
they've done all the right things in Clipper Town, but again, they've done the right things before, and bad things have happened in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're
We
right.
will
You're
see.
right.
Coach,
You're right. We've never been to a conference finals.
what is the coach in an athlete today that you coach? What is the difference between the athlete today and the athlete that played in high school when you were in high school?
That's a loaded question. I think the athletes now need more validation. Whereas when I was in high school, our like we'd go out there, we'd make a play, and we know we made a play. It was a great job.
Right,
We didn't need our coach telling us that we made a
right,
great play.
right.
I think the difference now is if a kid makes a play, you have to tell them like, "Hey, great play."
Yes, 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 yes,
Like if
yes.
you don't say it, they're kind of looking at you like, "Wait,
Hey,
like that didn't come from
you didn't see that? Where were
Yeah,
you at?
yeah,
So you
exactly.
and so let me ask you: could they take? I played in the '70s and that they couldn't take that kind of punishment that coaches gave back then. It would be difficult today. Uh, and so coaches could grab you, they'd kick you,
Hmm.
they call you out of your name a couple of times. But again, that's just how it went down back in the day. Things have changed a great deal now. The athletes have a lot more. You go to the training rooms of some of the high schools like Mater Dei and colleges, and the training rooms, like in some of the high schools, the training rooms look like colleges. I went to
Yeah.
Mater Dei High School and watched a basketball game several years ago. It looked like I was at a college
Hmm.
gymnasium.
Yeah.
So again, it's a whole different ball game now. When we played, you played high school wasn't on television, but
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
Mater Dei St. John Bosco game was on television, and
Hmm.
last night. So it's a lot of changes going on out there. What would you say to an athlete right now, Coach? Because these are student athletes, obviously, um, that's playing the game, wants to be not getting a lot of playing time. This could be any kid out there. It doesn't have to be at Poly, but any kid out there not getting a lot of playing time. He's on the high school level, and he wants to improve and get better. What would you say to that kind of athlete?
Just keep working at it, because even if you're not getting a lot of playing time now, your time will come. The person in front of you, he can get injured. He might have a change of heart and not want to play anymore. Um, they might not be taking care of business in the classroom, so
True,
now they become ineligible all of a sudden.
true.
So you always just gotta stay ready. Whatever your coaches tell you to do it,
Do it.
because once your coaches have faith in you, then they will have no issue
Boy,
putting
that's
you in the
huge,
game.
Coach. That's huge. That faith part, because I remember playing junior college ball up north, and I we had special athletes on that team with more speed. I was a wide receiver. They had gifted athletes, better than me as an athlete in my position. But when the
Hmm.
first game came, the coach said Fred Favors, and I said, "Well, I'm thinking to myself, why did he say me when 3 guys in my position are better than me?" Well, because Fred Favors was used to listening to the coach, submitting to what they were trying to accomplish, and
Hmm.
doing everything I could to be an example on that team. So when it came time for playtime, he wasn't looking at the best athletes. He was looking at the person who was mentally prepared to do what he wanted them to do. And that was me. So tell athletes out there, you may not be the most gifted at your position, but if you work hard, like the coach is saying, stay in those books, books in basketball, books in football. And that's pretty much what you need to do. But anything can be accomplished when you go at it and go at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just doing the little things right also, like showing up on time, just things like that. Just little things like that lets the coach know he can trust you.
Hey, kids out there, listen to the coach. Coach Darrel Daniels from Poly High School. What an incredible pick they made when I saw you. I had actually, you may not remember this, but when you first came to Poly, I was in your office and I chatted with you for about 2 or 3 minutes, and I could tell then that this coach is going to take this team to the next level. I wish you the best, coach. In fact, after the North Hollywood game, I'd like to have you right back here so we can talk about that. And you're going to win. I predict you're going to win this game 21-17. That's my prediction.
Okay.
Hold it true. You tell your players, keep my prediction. I'm going to come and get them.
I'll let them know. Not to make you out to be a liar.
Coach, have a great Sunday. Next week, North Hollywood. Is that at Poly or North Hollywood?
It's at Poly.
I know in a regular season, that place would be packed for the North Hollywood game. I don't know if the fans can come to the game now, Coach. Can the fans actually come to the game, or is it a limited number?
It's 2 people per kid.
So 2 people per kid can actually come to the games. And so you want to see some great football, Poly, North Hollywood, Friday night, 7 o'clock, Poly Stadium. That place is going to be rocking. Coach, we'll see you next week. Have a great game and a great Sunday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Coach Darrel Daniels from John Francis Polytech High School, the football coach, and a darn good one. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.